Hello everybody, this is Lynn from Lynn's Custom Pins. I want to make a little video just showcasing the current progress of the Tail of the Dragon table. As you all know, I started working on a Whitewood of this table, and it's been progressing pretty well so far. There are a few more parts I'm waiting for, but other than that, the top of the table is more or less done except for like 2 or 3 things, which I'll point those out when I get to it. But I'm going to give you a little tour first. So obviously we have the plunger lane here. This trough is actually a WPC style trough. WPC 95 style trough, I should say. Right here, there should be a bike diverter, but unfortunately the mech that I have doesn't fit in this spot. It hits the side of the cabinet, like the rail on the side of the cabinet, so I need to find a smaller mech. That aside, though, I did actually find this neat little diverter, which fits perfectly where I need it to go, right here. So as soon as I find the right mech, I'll be all set to go. But that diverter is enabled by going over the BIKE rollovers. 2 of them are safe, 2 of them are not. I'll get into that a little later, for those of you who have not read the rules. The extra ball light right here, shoot again. Spell Dragon to Light special. When Dragon is spelled, and this is something that you can do over the course of the game, when you lose a ball, these will not reset. But once you spell Dragon once, you cannot spell it a second time. But spell Dragon, the special light comes on. Special light should be right over here. Unfortunately, I forgot to drill that before I clear coated the thing, so I got to drill and put that light in. Shouldn't be too hard. It's just a little annoyance that I forgot to do. These are the end of ball bonus Dragon Trail. You start from 1, you go all the way up to 19. Once you hit 19, 20 lights, then repeat the progress, 40 lights, so on and so forth, all the way to 80, and you can get up to 99 times 10 bonus, times whatever your multipliers are. So 990 times your multiplier. You can have pretty big score. You have the damn targets over here. This is a set of drop targets in front. Let's see if I can pull one up. I don't want to lift the table if I can help it. Yeah, so you have 3 drop targets in front of 3 spot targets. Hit the drop target, then hit the spot target to light the letter in front of it. Spell Damn, and you will light a, what's that thing called? A Scenic Overlook or something like that. I think it's Scenic Overlook. There are 5 Scenic Overlooks all around the table, and they're actually in sequence around the orbits, starting from 1, then 2, 3, 4, and then way over here, 5. So when you have all 5 of them lit, and you rip around the orbit, you can actually get a good amount of points. It takes a while to get them up, but it's worth it. What next? So, your multiplier target, there should be 2 drop targets in front of here. Hit the 2 drop targets down, hit the target, the next multiplier in sequence lights. So 2x, 3x, 4x, obviously. That applies to both in-game scoring and in the ball bonus. And it lasts for the duration of the ball. So if you get up to 4x, you can really get a hell of a lot of points in that ball. The other thing with these bonus multipliers, each bonus multiplier will also light something else on the table. So 2x will light this mud corner bumper. 3x will light the Tree of Shame bumper. And 4x will light the spinner. So you can really get a hell of a lot of points that way. So speaking of the mud corner bumper, the mud corner bumper is 25 points normally and 250 points when lit, I believe. Don't quote me on that, double check the rules. Why is it worth so much? Well, if you remember, if you see where it is, it's kind of open in the table, nothing really around it to make it bounce around. So you're more or less going to just hit it once and then go away. Maybe you'll hit it and bounce against these targets a little bit, but it's more or less you hit it and you bounce away. So I can give it a lot of points. The Tree of Shame, this bumper is worth I believe either 50 or 100 when lit. I think 50 when lit. And it's worth so little because you're going to get lots of play back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. You can rack up a hell of a lot of points with this thing. These are the mud corner targets. Only one will be lit at a time. I'm dropping everything over here. Only one will be lit at a time. So if this target is lit and you hit it, you get high value points. I can't remember what that is. But if this target's lit, or if this target is not lit and you hit it, you only get like 10 points. And so I think it's like 60 and 10 for these things. And the lights will flip-flop. Most targets on this table will flip-flop the lights. So every time you hit this pop, the lights will flip. Every time you hit this target, the lights will flip. Every time you hit these damn targets, the lights will flip, so on and so forth. It will not do that for this pop bumper or for the spinner, just because it gets so much play, the lights will flick back and forth too fast. So this is kind of a slightly random shot with this pop bumper here, but you can also get it with the right flipper if you aim well. The Tree of Shame area, we already talked about the bumper. The other two things up here, the two targets, as the text says, if you light both of these lights, then you'll light the next letter in bike. So this is how you will light those two evil lights down here. Normally the B will just send you to the drain, and the E, for the most part, will send you right to the drain as well. But using those spot targets way up there, you can light the B and the E very safely, just like the I and the K. The other thing to note, those two targets up there will first light the B, then light the E, then light the I, then light the K. So you don't have to worry about hitting the I and K before you hit those spot targets or anything. It'll light the most dangerous targets first before the easier targets. And the visual pinball model does do that. So again, you spell bike and that diverter opens up. Up here, these rollovers, as it says, roll over those two rollovers and you will spell the next letter in dragon. There are 6 letters in dragon, of course, so you have to roll over each one of those 6 times, so 12 times total. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And dragon will spell and your special will be lit. The spinner doesn't really do much other than give you points. When it's not lit, it's not worth a whole lot, maybe like 10 or 5 or something. And it's 50 when lit. And if you remember, this will only light when you're at 4x. So in reality, this is actually worth something more like 200 when lit. So rip that thing and you'll get a lot of points. Also, every spin you get will go towards the spin increment. So you can see 10, 20, and 30, that's the number of spins that spinner went. Whenever one of those lights are lit, you can get into this break or bust saucer, and you'll score 5 times what the face value is. So this would be, 50, 100, 150. But unlike some other things, these are all cumulative. So if you have both the 10 and the 20 lit, you'll get 100 plus 50, or 150. And then if you have the 30 lit as well, you'll get 300 for the total if you get in this thing. But if none of these are lit and you get in here, you get nothing. These rollovers are, I forget the name off the top of my head. But you loop around. So if you loop from left to right, you'll light this light, and then this light, and you loop from right to left, you'll light this, then this. When all 4 of those are lit, this rollover will light, and it'll be worth 250. Once you go over this, these 4 lights will reset, and you can repeat the process. This thing over here, a ramp is going to go here. I haven't quite designed it, but it's going to actually jump the ball slightly and hit a switch. If you don't go fast enough, you're not going to jump high enough, you're not going to hit the switch. So I got to play with that a little bit. And I think that's everything on this table. If I missed something, I'm sorry. I can't remember what it would be. So there's a lot going on this table, a lot of different things you can do. So I'm just going to quickly set this up, hit the ball around for a moment, and so you can see what it kind of does. I do have coils that are too strong on here. These two flipper mechanisms came from roller games, so I got a very strong flipper coil. That aside, you can kind of get an idea what the flow is going to be like. Try and set this up so you can kind of sort of see. Be a little difficult. Alright, there we go. There we go. Okay. So the one thing I did notice is the rollovers on the right are kind of hard to hit unless you're perfect with your aim. So I'm probably going to decrease the number of drop targets over here from 2 to 1, and so I can move this post up here and shrink this wire. Then that'll make that quite a bit easier to hit. And the targets on the left are actually kind of hard to hit right now too. But I attribute that with the coil being too strong. When I get a weaker coil, the ball will actually lob more, and it might make those easier to hit. So I'm not really too worried about that. Not to mention, once I get the kickers working, the kickers will probably careen into those targets fairly often. Yeah, so they're hard to hit right now. Unlike the visual pinball model, though, the spinner is actually very, very easy to hit. Which, of course, I missed. But when you hit that thing, it really spins like Jesus, so you can get a lot of points. There we go. And I think that's about it. I think I'm out of time or I'm over time. I'm not really sure what the YouTube time limit is these days. So, like I said, this is Lynn from Lynn's Custom Pins. I hope you enjoyed this video. I will be making more videos as time goes on. I probably won't make another Tail of the Dragon video until I get more things hooked up. Possibly, definitely all of the devices, probably all the lights. So it's probably going to be a couple months because I need to get a P-Rock and other wire and stuff to hook everything up. But during that time, I should be able to work on the full house pinball foam core model a little bit more, and possibly Fairyland Tales a little bit more as well. So, thank you for watching this video, and have a great night.